Hey guys, Erik Valind here. I'm a lifestyle portrait photographer based out of New York City. So for this shot, I'm going to show you how to do the classic three-point lighting setup practically anywhere. The beauty of this is with the mobile modifiers like the flash benders, you don't need a cavernous studio to make professional looking portraits. So what is a three-point lighting setup? It's basically three things. First is our key light, which is going to be the main light that illuminates and shapes our subject's face. The second light is going to be a hair light, which is going to come and streaming over her shoulder, separating the beautiful blonde hair from the dark background. The third light in this case is going to be our background light. So without that, our background would go completely dark, a blank canvas giving us something to paint on, and that's going to illuminate that, and I'll show you some modifiers to shape that background too to give you more options. Finally, the fourth piece is going to be our fill card. So this could be a reflector or a piece of poster board, but I definitely want you guys to start using reflectors and fill cards because it essentially adds another light source without having to buy another flash. So for our first light, the key light, we're going to use the Flashbender 2 XL Pro, which is going to be the largest one they've got. With that, I have a diffusion panel on the front, which essentially turns this into a large softbox. What's beautiful about a softbox is it gives you even illumination of the face, so there's no hard fall off. And by bringing it in really close, it becomes really, really soft. So you have even highlights and a gradual fall off to shadow. By moving the flash off camera, we can create the shadow where we want to make her look three-dimensional while still controlling the light. So with the Rogue Flashbender 2, I like to use the diffusion panel. Now the size of the Flashbender remains the same, so you're going to get that beautiful soft quality of light no matter what. But what happens when you add the diffusion panel is if someone has a little bit of sheen on their forehead where there might be a little shiny spots, the diffusion panel cuts down on that specularity. So no matter what, this modifier is going to give you really large soft light, but with the diffusion panel it mats out the skin too, so you don't have shiny hot spots to worry about later on. So over my shoulder I've got the Rogue Flashbender 2. It's the XL Pro again, so it's going to be the largest one they make, except now I'm using the strip attachment to it. So this gives me a more focused beam of light, and I'll also have a grid on the front which focuses it even more. So what that allows me to do is put the light only where I want it and absolutely nowhere else. So for our third light, we need to light up that background somehow. I used a particular modifier here. It's the Rogue Grid. What this does is gives me a perfect circle with a very beautiful fall off to the shadow, and with three different sizes, I can have a small, medium, or large halo right behind my portrait subject's head. All right, so we've got our three lights set up. We have our key light, we have our hair light separating her from the background, and we have our background light giving us a dynamic background back there. The one thing we're missing though is our fill. In this case, I chose not to use a flash for a fill, but instead I brought in some poster board to use as a fill card. What it does is it catches the light from our key light here and perfectly and softly bounces it back, wrapping into the shadowed side of her face. So by coming in from the opposite side as my key, I'm going to allow the key light to remain the brighter part of the exposure, drawing the attention to my subject's eyes, and this is perfectly going to gather just enough light and bounce it back in, not to eliminate my shadows, but to make them less dark and contrasty. Another great thing about that gray background is it also takes gels really well. So if you go ahead and put the gels on that back speed light, we can essentially create any color background you want, which gives you a ton of creative freedom. So what we did here is we found any old wall, we put some nice gray background on there, which is a versatile background color, and with three different modifiers, we were able to knock out a three-point lighting setup. Classic portrait, perfect for seniors, perfect for headshots, executive portraits, you name it.